Hello DB Besties and welcome back to the Design Bundles YouTube channel. I'm really excited to be crafting with you today because we are using one of my favorite materials, and that is puff vinyl. So if you're looking to expand your repertoire of what you work with, or you're just looking to try something new, I highly recommend watching this whole tutorial because I'm going to show you step by step how to use puff vinyl, my favorite kinds of puff vinyl to use, tips and tricks for making sure you use it correctly and don't make any mistakes, and how to avoid the dreaded ramen noodle puff vinyl, which if you've never used puff vinyl before, you know that can happen. So we're gonna talk about all of that in this video. It's gonna be super comprehensive, and even better, we're gonna do a little Halloween design, so you're not gonna wanna miss it. So stick with me through this whole project, and you might just come out with your new favorite material. I'm trying to decide if I think it's my favorite material. I think it is. I've been using puff vinyl for years, and I think it just still remains at the top for me. I absolutely love it. If you're new here, my name is Laura. This is the Design Bundles YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon because we're back here every single week with all the crafty tutorials, tips, and tricks, and we are always looking for your input on what you want to learn, what kind of hacks you want to know, what questions you want answered. Pause this video or just drop down to the comments and let us know what you want to see next because we want to hear from you. Okay, with that being said, let's get into the materials for this project. You really don't need that many, but the ones that you do need are absolutely critical. So you need a shirt of some kind for this project. I'm using this orange shirt because we're going to be doing a design that says boo. So I'm going to be doing orange, and then I'm going to be using black puff vinyl. You can see I've actually already used this piece, but we have plenty left on here to use. I also have this piece of orange puff vinyl because I was debating on the idea of doing like a monochrome orange on orange look, but I think I'm going to do the black on the orange. So you really only need one sheet of puff vinyl for this project. It is a 1-layer project. In addition, you're going to need a cutting machine of some kind. I'm going to be using my Cricut Maker 3 today. You're going to need your basic Cricut tools like scissors and a weeding hook, and then you do need a heat press that can apply firm pressure. The most common mistake I see with puff vinyl is people get that ramen noodle effect, or it doesn't puff up how they want it to, and most of the time that's due to either heating it for too long or not applying firm enough pressure. Puff vinyl really needs firm pressure, so I highly recommend if you have a clamshell heat press, use that. If you're using a Cricut Easy Press today, be ready to put your whole body weight into it because you're gonna need to apply really good pressure. Other than that, that's all the materials you need for this project. So let's hop over to the computer and get our design set up and ready to cut. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. We have our design pulled in. This is from Design Bundles. The only thing I've done to this design so far is set it up at a width of 8.5. If you're wanting to do a full front or a full chest design, do measure the front of your shirt to make sure that the sizing is accurate. For the one that I'm using today, 8.5 inches wide is just about perfect. So that's what we're gonna be doing today, which makes our height 5.162. Excellent. Really, this is just a 1-layer design. We don't need to do anything else to this. I did that intentionally because I really want you to get practice working with puff vinyl in the simplest possible scenario. But another tip for working with puff vinyl, if you're doing a design that has multiple layers, you always want to press your puff vinyl last. So if you're doing multiple layers and only one of them is puff vinyl, make sure that is the last layer you press, because once you press puff vinyl a second time, it will get that ramen noodle effect. It becomes crunchy looking and it really loses that fantastic puff that makes it so amazing. It's really hard to do designs that have multiple layers of puff unless you can somehow lay them all down at the same time, lay down all your colors at the same time and press them all at once. But you can do multi-layered projects with other kinds of HTV, but just make sure puff is your final layer. I've done projects before where I've layered puff on top of everyday iron-on. I've layered puff on top of flocked vinyl. You can always layer puff on top of other things, but you just don't want to layer anything on top of it or have to press it twice. So just a little fun fact about puff vinyl and a helpful tip for your future puff vinyl projects because I'm sure you'll be doing plenty of them. But for today, we're just using 1 layer, so we really don't need to worry about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Make It. I don't wanna save this to my projects, although I could. I'm gonna be cutting on a mat today, and we are going to be mirroring. You still mirror puff vinyl, especially the kind that we're using today. We're using Siser Easy Puff today. I should have mentioned that earlier. It is my favorite kind of puff vinyl. I have tried several kinds of puff vinyl. I love Siser Easy Puff. Some puff vinyl does require you press twice. Siser Easy Puff does not, and it's in fact discouraged, like I was saying. It has a short press time. It's pretty easy to work with in terms of how forgiving it is. It's very easy to weed. And best of all, and my personal favorite, is Siser Easy Puff comes in amazing, amazing color choices. So, little plug for Siser Easy Puff. I love using it. That's what we're using today, and we will be mirroring our project. We're gonna go ahead and hit continue. It's gonna connect to my Cricut machine. I am using the Cricut Maker 3 today, but you can cut puff vinyl on any kind of Cricut machine that you have. And then we're just gonna use the Everyday Iron-On cut setting. So some people like to use specific cut settings. I found that Everyday Iron-On does a fantastic job, and why fix what ain't broke? So we're gonna use Everyday Iron-On, and we're gonna use default pressure today. That's all we're gonna do on the computer. We're ready to put this on the mat and get it cut. Okay, don't judge my Cricut mat. There is some debris on it. Okay, there's a lot of debris on it. Just don't judge me, okay? Okay, let's get this set on our mat. The only thing that's weird when you're cutting puff vinyl is you actually are gonna cut this shiny side up, which if you're familiar with cutting regular heat transfer vinyl, you know that is a no-no. We always cut it shiny side down. We're gonna be cutting shiny side up today. So let's go ahead and lay it out on our mat here. One thing I have kind of noted over the years working with puff vinyl is sometimes it has a hard time sticking. So a little tip that I've kind of pulled over the years is if it's having trouble sticking to your mat or you're having trouble keeping it perfectly flat, sometimes I grab a little bit of heat resistant tape and just kind of put it along the edges to make sure everything stays down okay. It does look like I'm having that problem around the edges of my design today, but it's not really doing it in the middle, so I think I'm gonna go without today. But if your mat is older and it doesn't have a lot of stick to it and you're getting a lot of peeling at the edges, do consider putting some heat resistant tape just kind of along the perimeter of your mat here, and that will really keep it held down. No, I'm gonna go ahead and tape it down. Let's be safe today. Okay, I do have some regular tape, so we're just gonna go ahead and use that. You can use heat resistant tape. That's usually what I have on hand in my craft room, so I tend to use it more often. But I've got some regular tape today, so we're gonna just taper down, just kind of along the edges here to make sure nothing budges during cutting. There's not a science to this. This is literally just, we don't want anything to move around. That's it. So once we've done that, we are ready to put this in our Cricut and get cutting. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and slide this under the guidelines and click the flashing load unload button. In a second, we're gonna press the flashing go button, and then we're gonna actually go over to the heat press and start getting it preheated while this cuts. Okay, welcome to the heat press corner. We went ahead and turned on our heat press machine, and we're gonna be preheating it to 280 degrees, and we are only gonna be pressing for 10 seconds. So go ahead and let it preheat while your Cricut does the cutting and you do the weeding. Okay, so our Cricut has cut our design. We are now ready to weed it. The first thing you're gonna wanna do if you taped yours down like me is gently remove those tape pieces. So I'm gonna do that really quickly. If anybody has a better idea than tape, please let me know in the comments. I don't know if I'm the only one that experiences this. I feel like even when my mat is really new and fresh, with certain materials, they just don't stick. And I've got fabric mats, I've got light grip mats, strong grip mats, regular grip mats. I feel like I've tried altering the grip of the mat and the type of mat. With certain materials, it just doesn't seem to make any difference. So please let me know in the comments if you've come up with a better hack than putting tape on it like I do. It feels so unprofessional, but it works, so I do it. So we've removed our tape, now we're just gonna peel off our design. You can see it fell right off. And then I'm gonna set my mat over to the side. The first thing I'm gonna do is trim it up a little bit, trim it down to size, because puff vinyl is precious and I like to save every last bit of it. So I'm just gonna kind of cut around my design here. And then weeding this project should be really easy, so we're gonna get to that. Okay, let's get to weeding. So it's just like you would normally weed. And in fact, I will tell you another thing I love about puff vinyl is I actually find it really easy to weed. I think it might just be easier to weed than regular easy weed. It really is like butter. It just comes right off. You can tell just from that how easy that is. It does does a fantastic job. I love weeding puff vinyl. So we're just gonna continue on weeding, noting how stinking easy it is to weed this. It's been a minute since I've done a puff vinyl project, and now I'm wondering why I have waited so long between them. I forgot how much I love it. I also have been using a different weeding hook for a while. It's like writing with your opposite hand. This weeding hook is like a slightly different shape. It's messing me up. That's good. Now let's get this one. Oh gosh, it's just so nice to use a material that weeds so well. I think I mentioned this when I was talking about Caesar Puff earlier, but I will again say the other thing about Caesar Puff that I love is the color options. We're just using black today, so I know that's a little bit boring for some people, but Caesar Puff comes in amazing colors. So many cool neons, so many cool different shades. It's kind of unusual because Puff is still pretty new to the market in the grand scheme of crafting materials. So not a lot of people have really put out a lot of color options yet, but Caesar just full send. Okay, I think that is good. You can always flip it over and make sure it looks right. It does look fabulous. One thing you're gonna notice about puff vinyl, and another way to know if it is puff vinyl, sometimes I put my puff in a drawer with other kinds of vinyl and then it can be hard to know what's what. A little hack for you to know what's your puff vinyl is it has a distinctive feel. So I'm gonna take the other piece right here. Our shiny side just feels like vinyl, but the other side is very smooth and kind of matte textured. And so that's how you always know that it's puff. No other vinyl I've worked with feels like that. And even when you look at it here, you can see that just looks different. That doesn't look like a typical iron-on. It's incredibly matte texture. The black almost looks chalkboardish, and that's that puff that's gonna be activated with the heat. So that's one thing that's really cool about puff is it is like a regular vinyl. It looks like a regular vinyl. It's the thickness of a regular vinyl, but then when we put it under the heat and apply that firm pressure that we are about to do, it's gonna activate it and it's really gonna puff up and be just fantastic. We're about to go heat press this. It's gonna be a quick process. We're only gonna press for 10 seconds at firm pressure, 280 degrees. But I will tell you, this is the part that most people get discouraged with. If you overheat puff, it's gonna look like ramen noodles. If you don't put a firm enough pressure, it's gonna look like ramen noodles and it's gonna deflate on you. So it kind of gets like this flat, like weird ramen-y texture to it. Adequate firm pressure, only 10 seconds, press one time at 280 degrees and your Caesar Easy Puff is gonna come out perfect. Let's go preheat our shirt, press our puff, and see how it comes out. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is preheat our shirt. This makes sure to get all the moisture out of the shirt and just ensures a more even press, which is really critical with puff vinyl. So let's go ahead and do that. I always recommend to people to do that no matter what type of material you're pressing with. Always do a preheat. It really gets all that moisture out and ensures a better press. We're just gonna preheat for 10 seconds, just like the amount of time we're gonna be pressing our puff. That is all you really need. And now that our preheat is done, it's really as simple as placing our design not upside down. And then since we're just doing one layer, we really don't need to cover this with a Teflon sheet or anything. We're just gonna go ahead and press it. Again, if you're using an easy press, this is where you wanna put your full body weight behind it. You do need firm pressure for this. And now you're gonna see when we pull it away, we are immediately puffy. It already looks so stinking cool. And that carrier sheet is just gonna pull straight away and leave that puffy result. Okay, DB Besties, that is puff vinyl in a nutshell. You can see why I love this product. I think the result is really cool. If you are an 80s or a 90s baby, you know this is coming back around. This is not a new thing, but I love the look of puff. I think it really adds a unique and professional touch to your projects. Every time I wear my puff vinyl shirts, people are like, there's no way you made that. But of course, we know we can make anything around here. That's puff vinyl. Let me know in the comments what you wanna know about puff vinyl, if you have any other questions, what kind of materials or techniques you want to see next. I would love to try them out for you, even if it's my first time trying it. I will gladly do so. But I hope you love this project. I hope you wear it all fall long. Again, my name is Laura. This is the Design Bundles channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future crafty projects. You can follow me personally at It's Lara Lambert. I would love to connect with you. I'm on all the social media platforms, so shoot me a DM, shoot me a comment, let me know what's inspiring you, what you're crafting lately, or put your comments there and I will still craft them for you. So until next time, DB Besties, happy crafting and happy puff vinyling.